All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we are going to be looking at the Spartans and the Athens. Now, some of you guys may have an idea who the Spartans are because of that movie 300, if you've ever seen it. I'm going to basically tell you what was true, what was not true. Because again, as you guys probably know, everything in movies is not exactly 100% accurate. Okay, so we're going to go over that. All right. So All right, so here are again the essential questions, the objective for today. You guys can compare and contrast the differences between the Spartans and Athens. I really want you guys to listen as the lecture goes through and basically hear how this group is, how this group is, and how are they similar, how are they different. Okay. Analyze the contribution each empire gave for future empires and countries. Because the thing is, they are from the same place, Greece, but the thing is, they are each unique in their own sense. And future uh, empires and countries really do look at them as an example of how they should be and shouldn't be. Okay. So here's your warm up uh, for today, as you can see. So first question is, what do you see? All right. And I believe the second question asks you something about what is the artist trying to say about Sparta? So just look around and you'll have a good idea. All right. So if you're still writing, go ahead, pause the video. Otherwise, we're moving on in three, two, one. Uh, really quickly before we begin, if you see me yawning or like rubbing my eyes, it's because I'm really, really tired. So I do apologize, okay, beforehand. So here's the thing with Sparta. A lot of people watch that movie 300, which is picture on top, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so amazing!" And uh, I've been surprised over the years that people think that that was like actually accurate. The way they dressed and things like that. Um, but the truth is, it wasn't. Okay. Now, Sparta, that word, it's not just a name, it has a meaning, which means highly self disciplined. And they truly were. They really were very disciplined people. They were a military group. Okay, that part is true what the movie says, they focused on fighting. Because, and then they showed you on the movie that they trained since they were little boys to fight and basically be warriors. That is true. The thing is, from at the age of 20, they would, serve in the army. And the thing is, the very interesting thing is, they could get married, get married, have kids, things like that. But they had to stay at the barracks where the soldiers slept and stuff like that till they were in their 30s. And just in case, hey, we're going to war. Instead of, oh, let me kiss my wife goodbye, this, that. No, just you're ready to go. Okay. Um, the women had more freedom in Sparta than any other place in Greece. Women had a big role when it comes to carrying the Spartan tradition. They're credited for basically keeping up the values, you know, and basically like, hey, what you're scared? Come on now, come on. I'm not scared. I'm a woman. You're supposed to be all tougher than me, you know, and things like that. They expected their husbands and sons to be brave in battle. Um, so like you see the top picture that's from the movie and you see them without a shirt and all this stuff. That's just to show you how physically strong these guys were. And they were, okay? They had to wear body armor. You know, the picture below. They had to wear chest plate. That shield would weigh so much as like 60 to 80 pounds. It was heavy. And they had to carry it. So imagine walking, marching, hot, sun coming down on you, wearing, heavy armor, and then having to carry like a 60 to 80 pound shield just constantly up. And that took a lot of physical strength. So yeah, they were very strong, but they didn't show go off just chest out and just look at me type of thing. No, okay, that's what the movie did wrong, but um, I'm not gonna say anything else to that because. So the thing is, in the movie, they talked about the shield. They say either come back with it or be carried on it. So in other words, either you fight and you come back alive, or you fight and you're brought back dead. You're dead on your shield. That's true. The women would basically tell that to the men. Fight with honor. You know, if you guys win, awesome, come back. If you died in battle, hey, honorable death. But if you run from battle, dude, you're a coward, man. And that's not how we roll in this place. So here's some of the things that the movie did not mention. That in Sparta they had two kings who led the armies. All right. Uh, then they had other groups. The movie kind of did mention one of the groups, not the other. So a group of 5 men, they call it ephors, were elected each year, and they were responsible for training the kids and basically making sure that they're like the cops in a sense too. Not only were the teachers, they were the cops. Making sure that everything was flowing okay in the city. It was a high responsibility because remember they're training the youth, so if they don't teach them properly how to fight, tactics and things like that. These people are trained basically to die. Then they had to train them the best way. Train them to think, in battle and be prepared for whatever may come. Uh, the next one is a council of elders. Now the two kings and 28 citizens over the age of 60 decided on issues, right? Any quarrels that happened in town, or between two businesses or whatever, um, they would basically come to this group. Now the thing is, what made this group interesting is they didn't like debate things. They didn't talk about it. They just heard both sides and then just voted. That's it. They didn't discuss it. Like, do you think this fool's lying? This person, their story didn't make sense to me. You know, they didn't do that. They just voted. No discussion. Boom, there it is. The Spartans, they really did keep to themselves. They thought they basically were superior than everyone else. They didn't want outside influences to mesh with them. Kind of type of thing. Citizens were not allowed to travel. If you wanted something, our armies will get it. You know, type of thing. They were very self-sufficient and they did not want to mingle with anybody else. Also, their um, their citizens were not allowed to study philosophy, literature, art. The only thing they were basically allowed to study was war tactics and war history. That's it. No thinking about, oh, is this the right form of government? Um, how is I'm going to express myself, through art, or paint, pictures, painting, writing stuff down. No, no, you do this job that you have. That's it. That's how you serve the state, type of thing. So now I ask you on the question, why do you think the Spartans didn't allow their people to study philosophy, literature, and art? Look at those three subjects and what does it require from the person? Philosophy, literature, which is like reading and things like that, um, and art. All three of them have several things in common, but I want you to think about it. Why wouldn't they want their citizens to be part of that stuff? Okay. And the second question is the follow-up, basically the one previous, the one you just answered. Do you think their culture would have changed if that was allowed? If they were allowed to study philosophy, if they were allowed to read literature, not just the war literature, but other literature, other type of books, you know, if they were allowed to express themselves, their history, their their wants in life, things like that, their ideas on art. Um, would that have changed their culture? Remember, their culture is very warlike. We're fighters. We fight, type of thing. We're not thinkers. We're not, philosophers. We're not about the person improving. We're about the state improving. And how do you improve? How do you get bigger? It's by war and conquering. That's their philosophy. So go ahead, pause the video if you're writing. If you're done, we're going to move on in 3, 2, 1. All right, so now we're going to Athens. All right, now Athens was once ruled by a king, but later it was ruled by a group of people who were wealthy, had influence. They're called aristocrats. They owned the best land and they basically controlled the politics. All right. Now the thing is, in the 7th century, so 700 BC, things got kind of bad. You know, these owners, you guys who had all the money, they thought, oh, we have the money, we're the smartest, we can do, there's no problem we can't handle. Well, the thing is, there was a problem. They mismanaged the money and things like that, and to the point where it got so bad that the economy just like started to tank, and that farmers who couldn't, pay back their debts because of bad harvest, things like that, were basically sold into slavery because they couldn't pay their debts. And this got a lot of people upset. They're like, wait, if the people who are getting our food, who are doing all this stuff, if they're being arrested, you know, who else is going to take over for that? You know, who else is going to farm? Why do it? And you're at the mercy of Mother Nature. And if something's out of your control happens, you're going to get thrown in jail? Oh, heck no. So that upset a lot of common people, and they wanted the debts to be canceled. They're like, it's something out of their control. You can't control Mother Nature. If it rains, it rains. If it's a dust storm, it's a dust storm coming in. There's nothing really you can do. Uh, and they also wanted poor for the land. Yeah, sorry. They wanted the poor to have land. I'm sorry about that. And basically, civil war was brewing, between the people. Now, there was an aristocrat reformer. It's right there. His name is Solon. And Solon was given basically full power. And basically, what he did, he's like, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to clear those debts. Because you're right. You're right. There's some things that are out of their control. And if these guys won't, we arrest the people who make our food, no one else is going to do it because they're going to be feared of, like, well, if it doesn't grow, then you're going to arrest me and throw me in jail. And then I don't want that, So there was that. Um, but they didn't give land to the poor. So he didn't solve the issue. He just basically put like a little temporary band-aid over it. But the thing is, it did help, but that's it. It didn't solve the issue. All right, so years later, Cleisthenes, I think that's how you say it, came into power, and he was a reformer as well. Now, reformers are people who see the things how things are, and they want to change it. So how the way government is, they want to change it. The way business is conducted, they want to change it for the better, for the most part. He created a council of 500 quote unquote supervisors, right? People who were elected who basically looked over everything from foreign affairs to how the money was managed by the state, and basically what laws should be enforced, which laws should be created. And they were voted on by an assembly. So people got to vote who they wanted on the council, people who they thought were going to be fair and just and who knew what was really truly right and wrong and things like that. Now, the thing is, only males could vote, okay? And they only voted after there was an open and free debate, okay? So there couldn't be just like, oh, let's vote now. No, no, no. Everyone has to hear it. Everyone gets the right to hear what the issue is. for both sides, and then we will just make a vote, but after everyone hears what's up. Okay, this is the foundation of a democracy. When people hear the problem, and people, the public, can make their own mind, as well as the ones who are making the decisions. All right, so here's your question. What do you notice that Sparta and Athens have in common when it comes to voting? And I didn't put it on there, and I put, or what have you noticed that they don't have in common when it comes to voting? I don't know what happened to that second half, but yeah. So what do they have in common when it's voting, or what do they not have in common? All right, because some of you guys may not be able to see truly what they have in common, but you can. There is something that you can obviously, very obvious, if you look at the notes, or if you heard the notes when I'm talking, um, that they have a difference, a big difference when it comes to voting. All right, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, pause the video, look at your notes if you're taking notes. If you're listening to it, just that's it. Go back to Sparta and look about the voting, and then go back, then come to Athens and listen to the part about voting. Okay, and then answer the question. All right, so we're moving on in 3, 2, 1, a little bit longer, and we're back. Now, there was one guy right here, Priscillas. I think that's how you say his name. I always get bad with these names. He was a very dominant Athenian politician. This guy basically helped expand the territory of Athens. And from 461 to 429, it became known as the Age of Priscillas. I think that's how you say that again. Now, the thing is, at first, people became very involved in democracy. People wanted to know what was going on where they lived. If there was discussions about laws being created, they wanted to be part of it. They wanted to know firsthand what the law said, or what the proposed law said, and how it was going to affect them. So people took an interest, really good interest, into politics and decision makings, and so this came to be a new form of government, which was direct democracy, and it became very, very popular. So direct democracy is this: it allows you, the person, you, the individual, to basically directly be involved. You would hear the issue, and you would have the chance to vote on what you think about it. Okay, it's not like right now. Right now in this country, you vote for a representative, someone to represent you in your district. Okay, so when you get older and you start voting, you vote for representatives to represent you in Washington, right? Whereas here, Washington will come directly to you and say, we need you to vote on this issue. That's direct democracy. It goes directly to you. Okay, keep this in mind, because when you get to government class, or if you have government already, you know what this is. But if you're not, we will be talking about this, especially if you have me. Okay, we talk about direct democracy. All right. Priscilla's made it even possible for poor citizens to take part in public affairs. All right. Now, what he did was he lowered the class male's eligibility to be in public office. Because before it was only like the top of the top, the creme de la creme, and then they lowered it to, okay, middle people, not really poor citizens. They were on their own. He's like, no, 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 no. They're citizens. They have that word in their title. They're poor, but they're still citizens, and they have a say, because that group is a huge number. Granted, they're not. If you take the rich in the middle, they may not be the same number, but they're a pretty big group, and they should be heard, because they see everything. They really know what's fair, what's not fair. They see what's hurting them, and what's helping them. If there's anyone who can tell you how policies really are, how things affect them, affect the average Joe. It's the poor people who could tell you. So that's what he's saying. Those people should have a chance to be in public office. And on top of that, they're going to pay these officers. Now, I'm sure you thought, wait, weren't they paying them before? Kind of, sort of, not really. It was kind of like an honorable thing. You served the public. That was your thing. It was seen as an honor, not as a job. And now he's like, no, they should get paid. Because if they don't get paid, they're going to be corrupt. They're going to look for money elsewhere. Someone's going to be like, hey, you know what? We got that building problem over there in that little section. That's where I live, and you know what? Here's some little money there. Just turn your head. Vote on this. So corruption was an issue. So he's like, if we pay them, they're not going to be looking at other people's money. They're going to be like, well, I'm getting good money here. I'm getting paid. And what you're giving me, no, I don't want to lose this job because this is paying me well. So thanks, but no thanks. And you know what? You can get in trouble for that. Okay, so that's what they did. All right, so we're gonna have a breakout session, and since you are at home, you cannot really do this breakout session. But the thing was, I want you to think, what would happen if politicians were not getting paid for their work? I'm talking about today. Talk about who, if anyone, would want to be a politician if that's the case. Would anybody want to be a politician if they were getting some type of financial gain? Excuse me. And how would our country, the top level, federal, state, local government, how would they function without people? You know, or so think about that. Okay. Now, your Google Doc question asks you, should politicians be paid if they don't do their job? Should they still get paid? They argue, bicker, things like that. Part of their job is to, get things done, for the American good. But these guys will fight over tooth and nail about, stupid things and things that really doesn't affect the American people, or things that really do affect American people, but they just twiddle their toes and things like that, and just like make things worse than they're actually doing better. So should they get paid for that? While you're hurting, waiting for some assistance to help you out, they're still getting paid. Okay, so what do you think? Why or why not? Justify your answer. Explain it to me. Explain your reasoning. All right, we've come to the end. So again, your exit ticket. Tell me something you learned today. All right. And again, if you have any other comments, something you liked, didn't like, wanted to know more about, leave it on this part, and I'll get to it. Okay. I got a lot of you guys saying you like how the structure is because it reminds you back when we were in class. Those of you guys who had me last year or the year before. And again, I try to do this to make feel like normal, like we were back in class. That's why I do it. I really do, because I know some of you guys miss class, some of you guys miss the normalcy of being in class and doing this kind of stuff, but we gotta do what we gotta do. Okay, so be sure you finish the exit ticket. When you hit submit, just press it once. Okay, don't press it 3 or 4 times, because I get it sent to me 3 or 4 times. So just once will be sufficient. All right. So you guys have a good day. You take care. You be safe.